So just sit tight, guys. There's nothing we can jump into yet. Apple's starting to pull. I mean, I like this below this level here, this 173.80. This was the former gap entry. But you see, once it broke there on Friday, it pulled again pretty nicely. So let's see kind of what happens here. Huge positive ticks, 1,500, 1,600. So that's pretty interesting. I haven't seen an open like that in quite a while. We'll see if that holds or not. Unless this, or until the SPY can get above this 266 and hold, I really don't see the continuation yet. Apple testing the VWAP. Starting to pull. Twitter has some extreme relative volume. I was just checking it out. Doesn't look like much though. Everything following the SPY so far. Just waiting so far. Everything is following the SPY to the penny. So yeah, but Netflix is there's no volume. That's extremely risky. COSTK. That one, that one does have some room back towards 16 or so, and the volume isn't terrible on it. It still needs quite a bit though. It's pretty light. SPY on the high. Nothing of interest yet, guys. Apple pulling off those pre-market levels. That one we need to get below this 173.80. Relative volume is light on it. Tesla has decent relative volume, but that one's not really the direction you want to see it go for the setup. Apple may work if the SPY can reject. Ticks are drifting. SPY trying to round out here on the high right now. SPY trade on the half relative volume. Pre-market high on the SPY is going to be 266.18. So we haven't tapped that level yet. Yeah, Apple volume is really dry. So if you want to trade Apple, you'd want to see a retest now, this 173.80. We're on the fast time frame. But until that hits, market is up to 35 at the moment. SPY hard pull there. So Apple, that's confirming now. Nice pull there. So you get into this pocket again, it starts to free fall. So that does look good now. Now, if you want to be real conservative about it, you can wait for a retest somewhere back up in this area. Only about 30 cents away. So you definitely don't want to see it back above 173.80. See what it does back up near 50, 60 level if it gets there. SPY is that base was defended, so just keep that in mind. Looks pretty good though. Apple, you'll see a retest on it at some point. And the market hasn't even started yet, so if that starts to sell, this will have plenty of room to go. At least back towards Friday. Friday's low, which looks just below 172. NVIDIA, let's see that pulling. Let's see what Apple does here on the retest. I'd like to see the volume pick up on it. It's still kind of light, but SPY is still getting bought up off that level. About to test the high here as well. So looks like you're seeing sort of a scalp type market in the morning here so far. So now the SPY's on the high. It's about to test this pre-market high or overnight high. So let's see if this level's respected here on Apple, if it gets there. I just haven't seen much direction yet on the SPY. SPY struggling here at that high. It's trying. So it's taking out the high. So I'm going to sit tight, guys, because there's just no alignment yet. So there is a big level, though, in through this spot on Apple. If you go back to the 5-minute, you'll see it. All right, so the pre-market low, right in through here, which is basically the gap entry, former gap entry level, which is where we're sitting right now. There's a lot of confluence there with the 20-day, the VWAP, but if the SPY is going to hold this level here, this probably is not going to work to the short side. Yeah, that's not the trade to take right now. We'll see. The SPY could easily reverse. It's not out of the question, but you definitely don't want to be caught on the wrong side on a low volume day like this. Ticks are still drifting here. Interesting that the ticks haven't moved with the SPY. Apple higher low, higher relative high. This is probably going to try to run now. If the SPY can keep moving. Yeah, I see MU, but you can't look at it that way because there was no indication that that was going to trade at all today. So I don't I don't really consider that one that we should have traded. I mean, I agree. Nice move, definitely good volume, but there was nothing indicating that that was going to be a one in play. Yeah, right. There's not really an alignment. Ticks are positive overall. But you can see the action is just light. So we're 15 minutes in and not a whole lot of action. But that's okay. We should have a few relatively decent weeks here of trading. Today after a holiday is typical. A little bit slower, but next couple weeks up until the Friday before Christmas. Now, here's something on Apple you could watch, but just keep in mind that this is a very aggressive trade right here. The speed line, SPY is sort of reversing off that level. But remember, now you've got the 173.80 below you. Got this pivot. So you start to take out 70s or 60s, and the SPY continues its pull here. This trade may work. But until it takes out that 80 level, I wouldn't really try it. This is what is known as more or less a trigger trap, where you have a nice identifiable speed line or a trigger. It fires, but you've got a level below that that's going to keep it from going. So you have to really wait until those are taken out. See, that didn't hold because we had support and the SPY's continuing. So some misdirection out here right now. So I don't see anything worthwhile, guys. If the SPY were a little bit weaker today, I'd definitely be I'd consider Apple to the short side right now because it's up against that pre-market level, but it's just not the right alignment. Ticks are still drifting slowly, but they're drifting. Yeah, I see OSTK. Volume dying though substantially. SPY continuing. The real test will be if the SPY pulls back, holds, and then continues. But we haven't seen the pullback yet, so. Yeah, Lena, that's true. Not really worth the headache, at least yet. I don't see anything that is going to allow us to trade any momentum. That's okay though. It only takes one. Good, Jay. Yeah, no need in starting off the week to the downside, plus, basically wrapping up the month. Next couple of days. Yeah, listen, that VWAP retest on Apple, so that would have been a really good spot because you have a couple things going on there, right? You have the first off, you have the 173.80 pivot, which is the former gap entry. Now that in itself is what's creating the pivot here, the price action pivot, where you get the retest of the level, pre-market, you break through, you come back, and you retest it from the underside, that's typically a spot where we would look to take a position if if the market was in alignment. And I agree with you. I was watching it because I would have liked to take that trade if the SPY reversed, because that would have been a really low risk spot. But the SPY got bought up off that pre-market base, was holding a level, so not really something I want to get into there because it's just a low probability trade. So a few things. I see some stuff reversing here. Netflix reverse. Trading about average volume. Yeah, Netflix at that trend line again. That's another one that is tough to trade unless there's extreme volume. Big moves on that. Yeah, and there's some traders that they will only trade, Netflix, Tesla, and that's just their go-to names every day, and they'll trade them. But you got to be really, really good at your risk management, and you got to be real quick to trade it. So this is definitely a much more advanced strategy. It sounds enticing, and it sounds good that you just come into your desk and you have two stocks to work with, or two or three stocks to work with, and you just trade those. But it actually is a lot more difficult than you think. SPY continuing to, let's see, roughly, we've got a level in through 267.10 or so. Is going to be a spot 268, something in through 268. There's a lot of levels in the way. There's a lot of work for this thing to do before it gets some significant strength again. So you're about to run in a level here in just a moment. 267-ish. So there's the test to the first level. Netflix going parabolic here a little bit. Hard pull on the ticks. $30 in now. And it appears that we have a direction so far today, but it's not until we can see that first pullback what it's going to do. It's interesting to see the ticks making lower highs, lower lows too. So definitely some disconnect there. Keep an eye on Apple though. That one can still work. It's still very weak overall. Apple testing the VWAP. SPY still testing this level 267.10. New highs on the SPY. Just sitting tight, guys. I'm still waiting. Large caps, just not much action today. Few reversal trades if you like to do that sort of thing. Apple's still testing the VWAP here. This could set up for a long here if the SPY holds. Again, this is not a high probability trade, but if you were to hold the VWAP here and round back out, basically a flag off the VWAP, that could be interesting. But I haven't seen a pullback really happen in the SPY yet, which is a little bit concerning for continuation. For Apple long, you'd want to see this VWAP hold here and it start to round back out. So back over 174.75, 174.80. But again, the SPY hasn't done a relief move yet, hasn't pulled back, which again is concerning for continuation. So just going to continue to sit tight here. 30 minutes in and haven't really seen much momentum. And typically when that happens, we're not going to see much in the line of opportunity here for the day. So that's just what we know statistically is the case. Doesn't mean the day's over, but definitely have to be even more cautious now. So the SPY is up against this 267.10 level. So far it's holding just below it, but it does look like it wants to resolve higher again. Couple things that tell me that right now is look at the volume. All right, look at the volume. Whenever you have these low volume pullbacks like this and you're having a relatively tight range of candles, right? So the range of the pullback candles are very, very tight compared to the upward movement. All right, so when you have that in conjunction with a low volume pullback, we typically see these patterns resolve. All right, so we'll see what happens, but right now we're seeing exactly what you'd want to see for a resolution to the upside. Stair step down in the volume, nice upward movement, tight range on the pullback. We'll see. Ticks are at the 0 line. It just went negative for a second, but this is typically what you want to see. So, the reason I'm talking about this is because it pretty much keeps me out of the short side of the market right now. Even though we're up against a level, this is some action that tells me we're probably going to continue to grind, at least maybe until the next level. SSR is a regulation, so it's industry wide. And what you want to see, so as this starts to resolve here, or moves back higher, right, moves back towards the high, you'd want to see a volume spike or an increase in the rate of volume. So if this is going to resolve, we definitely would want to see an increase in volume on the resolution. So just watch it, see what happens. But Apple, this looks good to me. The technicals look good, right? We've kind of broken down through this, which I like. Kind of rejected the pre-market levels. However, the market is a little bit indecisive here at the moment. I mean, we are in an uptrend so far today, but this could pull back to VWAP still. So there's a lot of variance to this, and when I have a lot of variation, I typically stay away because that means there's a lot of unknown, and a lot of unknown means risk.